Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate all of you. Om Shawtee Devi Namaha. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. It really helps me a lot. Don't forget to check out my website, paradoxastrology.com. Book your consultation today. I can help you with anything. And if you'd like more exclusive occult videos that I don't post on YouTube, consider subscribing to my Patreon. It also helps to support this channel. Okay, let's get into this video about September. Time is flying by fast. This is a very eventful month because we have 2 eclipses. So it starts off on September 4th. Mars will be making a 6/8 aspect to Rahu, while Jupiter squares Mars, and they're all at 24 degrees. So this is going to create an event. And also there'll be a Sun Ketu conjunction in Leo and Purva Falguni at this time. And Mercury will also be in Magha Nakshatra, bringing in themes about the leaders as well and those in high positions. This will include matters of trade, transportation, and communication involving challenges and conflicts. Can also involve civil servants, so there can be aggressive action that's taken, and the health industry. There is also a death and transformation occurring because the leaders are going in different directions. For the US, Mars will make an exact conjunction to its Saturn in the 10th house, and Jupiter is conjunct Sun in its 7th house, transiting Jupiter, and Venus is conjunct its Rahu in the 8th house, and its Moon is conjunct Ketu in the 2nd house. So this is definitely going to involve the US, and this can be an aggressive act on the country and its reputation that takes a hit by foreign nations, involving a split and transformation in different directions, which benefits not the US but the foreign nation. So I think it's something to do with trade as well, but there can be some violence in the US that can happen apart from just trade. So that's right before the eclipse. So that's involving the eclipse energy, because the eclipse is not just the day of the eclipse. We can feel the energy happening already. So then we have a lunar eclipse, which is happening on September 7th. And this is in Aquarius in Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra. So this is a very intense nakshatra where some of the most extreme events happen. This is events involving wealth. So this whole month is about wealth. Aquarius is about how we can become immortal. And that is using, with Rahu here, technology, AI. This is the nakshatra of grief, technology used for destructive purposes that go against the cycle of life, that go against nature. Think about like Satanism that wants the opposite. Bad is good, for example. Genetic manipulation, microchips, nanobots. This is AI with an agenda behind it. Criminals with agendas behind them. It gives a lot of wealth. It can bring in themes of two-faced type people. This is where preserving things ends and then destruction begins. It goes from Lord Vishnu to Lord Shiva. So because this is where the soul separates from the body, this is supposed to be the first stages of enlightenment. But in modern times, this ends up being the literal meaning, because it is the ego that starts fighting back through the enlightenment. As someone tries to enlighten themselves, the ego fights back, and this is supreme ego that comes out. So it brings a lot of things that happen with murders, serial killers, mass homicides, black magic rituals in the elite in society. The music industry, there's a massive transformation here at play. And I'm just telling you a little bit about this, but I'll have a full video about this coming afterwards. The moon will be in Pada 1, which goes into Aries Navamsha. And this is about war, new beginnings, violence that can happen. This is a prequel for what will happen when Rahu enters this Pada. And Rahu will be entering this Pada on September 21st. And we'll talk about that as we go on in this video. It has to do with using others. The karma, the negative karma, is about using others' money because you are not doing the work that you're supposed to do. So you start taking their money out of laziness or procrastination. So there's a lot of things that have to do with wealth, because Rahu is also in this Pada that goes into Taurus Navamsha as well, which is all about wealth. And the karma there is about someone who's not concerned for society, but only concerned for wealth and not the welfare of society. And they're only concerned with fulfilling their own desires instead of the desires of society that they're supposed to be serving. Also, they're doing business activities instead. when they should be focused on society. So this is the leaders doing this. This is people in elite positions of society and people that you can encounter in your day-to-day lives. It's an overwhelming desire for wealth. This will cause people to go against righteousness, their own dharma or their own path. Themes around ending someone's life, self-ending their life, and due to being falsely accused, themes of being falsely accused, because this is a lot about crime, but people end up victims as well. And also themes around burglary can happen. Saturn is in the second house of this eclipse, so it's showing us, again, this is all about money, digital currency that can happen, technology with a dark agenda. If you watch my previous video, that is about the current Rahu and Jupiter conjunction, which I spoke about earlier. But I go into depth about that as how I see that is the coming of digital currency, which we see happening already in many countries. But it's a dark technology and a dark agenda around money, trade, bank, taxes, stock exchange, pensions, money you did not earn, shared income, exchanges, and the economy, values with Rahu here. Also, it's going to affect the stock market. But this agenda about money and technology is not a dharmic one. It's a very secret and diabolical one. It's also about families. There could be a reverse indecision having to do with wealth in families. Venus is in the 6th house, so this can show debt as well, showing us that there's some analytical decisions to be made around money and relationship, but these could be made from an emotional standpoint and without empathy or with being critical to others. Also, the moon here is the 6th house lord, showing us that health issues can pop up in the homelands and in foreign nations. Addiction issues can pop up. Conflicts with foreigners, foreign travel, education. But these health issues can also be just psychological, as we have Venus in Ashleisha. Venus in Ashleisha also, you have to be careful of losing money to people who may be trying to scam you, using your emotions against you, or like psychological warfare against you in order to take your money, like a scam or even someone who's like a catfish. You have to be careful of that. Challenges in war with foreign countries, foreign trade, 6th house is war. Debt due to education. There can be an ongoing split in direction for leaders and celebrities, and their reputations are tarnished. People are becoming more minimal when it comes to money, especially the beauty industry. Less makeup, for example, more of a natural look. And a death and transformation with leaders, especially with those who are pompous and full of pride. And then on September 17th, Mars will go from Virgo and then will go into Libra. Mars will have to learn to be less aggressive and less domineering, because it needs to be more fair and balanced in our approach, in our actions. Venus will be transiting in Leo at this time for most of the transit of this month, with Ketu in Leo. So Mars will try to push relationships too far. If you try to push relationships too far and you're too domineering, there could be a split or a breakup, especially around the beginning of October 4th. So this can be due to being too critical, because around then we're going to have the Sun in Virgo, or being too egotistical, as we have Venus in Leo. And then on September 20th, Mars will make a 6/8 aspect onto Saturn, which will be triggered by the eclipse, and we'll talk about that after. On September 16th, Sun will go into Virgo. So then we take more of a practical approach, back to daily routines, back to schedules, analyzing health practices, challenges, enemies, dealing with them, dealing with pets. Because you can see that this is kind of when people go back to work, back from vacation, back to school. Then on September 14th, Mercury will join Sun in Virgo, where it gets exalted. For September 14th, and it goes in there, it will make an exact conjunction with Sun and Ketu around September 11th, 12th. And there will be some kind of identity crisis or ego that needs to be subdued, and communication can become less, or a leader can find themselves silenced or canceled. There can also be communication issues like power outages, which happen a lot during eclipses. And remember, during eclipses, there's always weather disasters, earthquakes, things like that. So power outages happens very often, like lights going off, internet. That could be cyber attacks on leaders, for example, data leaks or information leaked. Split in directions also in the matter of trade, short distance travel, and leaders that we follow. And this can also affect money and our social circles as well. But That will work itself out by the 14th, when Sun and Mercury both into Virgo. So whatever split in direction it was meant to be, and then everything will work itself out days later. Even if it's a power outage, it'll work itself out very fast. Then on September 19th, Venus goes into Leo until October 8th. And then here, the focus is on creativity. So it's where we take center stage, and this can actually be profitable for many. Our identity starts to seek validation and praise, and a lot of people will start gaining their self-worth from this. So there'll be a lot more people on social media, for example, wanting this kind of attention. And so will leaders, so will celebrities at this time. Some relationships can suffer due to ego, but it could be a good time for romantic relationships or just fun relationships. Now the sun will be in Virgo, so there can be a sense of being too critical in relationships. So we have to be careful of that, especially with family. Or it can be a good time for creativity that involves a technical side, like music, like playing an instrument, or music production, something that involves timing. Then on September 19th, Jupiter goes into Purnarvasu, into the third pada. And in this pada, the karma about this pada involves a story about a rich trader who was killed by his friend in order to steal his gold coins, $100 million in gold coins. And Jupiter is finance. So I've seen before that this involves crypto scams or like meme scams, where rich people can lose their money or investors can lose their money. So please be careful, because this month is all about money. And it's about trading, but only trading or caring for personal gain. And I've also seen people steal money from others in here who maybe have a business where that involves trading services, but the person can try to steal and be violent and steal that. So remember that this one eclipse is all about crime, so be careful. This can happen to also gurus, spiritual leaders, people in high authority position, judges. This karma is about people befriending others just to steal their money, like Ponzi schemes, for example. People that lie and then they move on to the next. But this is a powerful one because this pada goes into Gemini, so it's Virgotama in the Navamsha chart. But it's an enemy sign, so we have to be careful. And there can also be diseases related to cough. There's a lot of health issues this month. Then on September 21st, like I said, Rahu goes into Aries Navamsha, and that's war, new beginnings, extreme events, sports. A lot of extreme events will happen. It's a independence, and the karma here is a focus on survival while earning wealth. Using other people's money without asking them, avoiding responsibility can happen. Laziness, procrastination, earning money through improper means, people killing people for money. And then on September 21st, Ketu goes into Purva Falguni Pada 3. This is Leo Navamsha, about relationships, balance, law, business, independence. A disease like smallpox is very likely to pop up at this time, or any kind of disease. The WHO did a simulation about a disease in April, and it was a disease like smallpox or the measles. And usually when they do these simulations, very fast afterwards, there's actually one that happens. Coincidence? I think not, because this pada is about an outbreak of a virus. A story about a man who cheats on his wife because he's never satisfied. Themes of not being satisfied and seeking more, even if it hurts others by cheating or illegal means, can happen. Themes of taking resources of the 9th house, which is the father or the guru, which will create problems in your life. Relationships can break up, or some can find each other from past lives. Past relationships can come back to you or break up from the past. People who have a large amounts of money can suddenly feel dissatisfied with it. Go towards spirituality. That is always the answer. And then on September 21st, we have the solar eclipse. I think it's a partial solar eclipse, and Uttara Falguni. So this is how the kingdom is run. This is in Virgo, which is health matters, more health matters, war, daily routines. It's about challenges, logic, and analyzing, enemies, service to others, and pets. This is being aspected by Saturn, giving the sun and the moon a very serious tone, but it's also being squared by Jupiter, which can create a positive mindset, and Saturn will ground this so it doesn't become unrealistic. But there still is a challenge here with Jupiter, which is also finance. Sun is the 12th house lord, showing us an ending or a separation from alliances and groups, but also our hopes and wishes and from certain gains. But that can also be a separation from those in the government and how it's run. This can also involve immigration, homelessness, government services. This can involve leaders and careers transforming, reputations in society. But Jupiter is the 10th house lord, giving good luck and opportunities for many to have their own business and work from home or gain fame in their own hometown. Some may be traveling overseas for spiritual pursuits. Mercury is in hostage, so for those working with their hands, there can be some swift endings. Venus is with Ketu, showing us that relationships turn spiritual or they may end and go in a different direction. Unexpected matters of health can arise with children or partners, but Rahu can lead you to a natural or unorthodox way of healing. There can be conflicts with money being spent too fast by our partners. Mars is aspecting Saturn by the 6th, 8th aspect, like we talked about. Transformations must happen. Money can be lost or spent on unexpected expenses. And money can also come from inheritances, taxes, pensions, things that you didn't work for. But there's a conflict in regards to just people in front of us as well. A transformation in income is definitely possible. On September 23rd and 24th, most likely the 24th, the moon will conjunct Mars in aspect Saturn. The exact aspect happens on the 20th, but when Mars enters Libra, it will make unexpected events. So there could be some aggression and violence around these days. This can involve leaders, and also Mars is in Chitra Nakshatra, which is weapons. That's just a little bit about what I see. I'm going to have separate videos breaking this down even further coming up. So I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.